Welcome to another base tour. I'm happy to have you guys watching my video. Really appreciate the subscribe and the like if you haven't done so already. I know it's been a while since I posted a video, about a month or so I really appreciate your patience. This base tour is on a solo vanilla server. It's on the Lone Wolf solo server, which is for Vanilla Rust. It's probably the best solo server out there. It's my first wipe seriously playing on it, and I really like it. If you do play on Lone Wolf, take a look at the rules on Discord and on the website. They're very strict about the solo play, which I like, but a lot of people are going to get banned if you don't read the rules. But we'd love to have you. This is a base I built on solo Rust. This is vanilla. There's no mods, no shenanigans, no admin abuse. Nothing has been granted to me by the admins except for, of course, the Cookie Bear, which used to be sitting right there until someone rated me up in offline rated 3 times this wipe. I survived all 3 instances, of course. If you've seen my other videos, you know that I don't get successfully offline rated or online rated for that matter. This base is no different. The theme of this base for the wipe has been cars. You can see that I have the vehicle lifts out here with the I have 8 or 10 or 12 or something heartbeat sensors set up, and if the heartbeat sensors detect anyone, it disables the vehicle lift so people can't steal my cars. And I have a 4th one over here, and then I also have a garage over here full of cars for backup. I did have people that were getting really, I mean, honestly, they were getting really crafty, really scrappy with being able to bypass the heartbeat sensors and figure out how to take my cars, so I had to make that garage as an interim solution so I can fix exactly what they're doing. I think it involves twig, like putting twig up to block out the heartbeat sensors, and then someone found they got tired of that and just raided the auto turrets, and I really don't get it because all they were doing is just taking a couple of cars with nothing in them, but, you know, Rust players are going to be Rust players. You can see this base is built in a post-apocalyptic junkyard. Kind of a, I wouldn't say a happy place, but more of like a chill zone for people to come and hang out at. That's how I usually do my bases in Rust. And the base became quite expensive this wipe. You can see I have a horse area down here. I have a bunker up here. I actually have 4 suicide bunkers in this base, which make it extraordinarily difficult to raid. It's about 100 rocket raid if you were to get, if you wanted main loot from this base. I have the giant windmill tower. Yes, the windmills being that high really do produce a lot more power than the ones down below. I got kind of lazy with the ones down below. I have probably a dozen or so wind turbines. The one up top produces 150 power flat out. I mean, on average, it's 150. It's enough to power a large battery on its own. The other ones, not so much. They're between like 50 and 70, something like that. So to have a lot more than I usually do. These cone-shaped buildings here are my SAM sites. You can see it's using a build that if someone shoots fire arrows or the incendiary rockets down in here, the fire's going to fall through and it won't blow up the SAM site. So it'll take a lot more to blow up the SAM sites if they wanted to do that. And of course the SAM sites are set to defender mode. I don't want to get raided. If you just pro tip from Benjamin here, if you have SAM sites and you don't set them to defender mode and you shoot down mini copters and such, you're going to get raided. You're actually not preventing a raid, you're causing a raid with those things. This is my farm. I grow food here, and if you've seen some of my other videos that I've posted on my channel, there's a lot more going on to this farm than you might think. Just do a quick look through my videos and you'll see what I'm talking about. All of my turrets are on Peacekeeper. I like that because especially on a solo server, it's useful. It keeps out it makes it relatively safe while not pissing people off. It doesn't work quite as well on non-solo servers, but on solo servers it works great, because if you're going to get someone coming around and dicking around your base, it's usually just one person. This metal tower here, it's really just for looks and just to confuse the enemy and make them wonder what's actually in here. It's full of loot boxes. You know, there could be one box in this entire thing that actually has stuff in it, but, you know, you wouldn't know that until you raided it. And then at the end you'd find out that there's nothing in it, but, no, they don't know that. You can see that there's a compound partially built around my, air quotes, compound this way, and that's because my neighbor, who used to live in this compound here, offline raided me 3 times. His main base used to be right here, and your favorite YouTuber spent almost 100,000 sulfur foundation wiping his base, because we don't like offline raiders, especially unprovoked raids. I never even saw this guy, never met him, never killed him or anything. So him offline raiding me just didn't sit right with me. So if there's one thing that RP builders are good at, it's farming. And I'll blow 100k sulfur on somebody's base if I need to. And that's what I did. So rest in peace, Slavutich. Probably wasn't a good idea to mess with the hashtag RP builders. And thank you, by the way, Salty Neighbor, for leaving the wind turbine here. I took over his wind turbine base, and then I linked it. Look, you can see the wire here. I actually jacked his wind turbine into my own electrical circuit. So I left his compound here just so I can use it as like a monument to his defeat. This is a vending machine base. You know, I sell stuff here, guns and explosives and stuff, and I also have mortars here. There's a lot more going on to this this base here. And if you've seen some other videos about the horse glitch, which still works, by the way, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, another 30 rockets to get on the partial loot here. Another auto turret setup with the wind turbine on top. We can go in this this metal militia tower here. I can show you what it looks like on the inside. It's not pretty. Not pretty at all. Kind of reminds me of something that I would have built in my modded server days. More SAM sites. And just a lot going on up here. More confusion for the enemy. And that's what people need to know about Rust. Whenever you're just designing a base, like I have to give credit to my neighbor that offlined me 3 times. Whenever I went to raid his base, I wound up spending way more than I should have because his base just didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense. And whenever bases don't make sense is whenever you wind up spending a tremendous amount of sulfur to raid it. And that's what happened here. His base just didn't make sense. There's like a bunch of triangles, and I wanted to use C4 because I already had a bunch crafted, and you know, with the remote detonate C4, you can raid it, and it only sounds like 1 explosion even if you're setting off 8 of them at once, but it wound up being tremendously expensive because his base just wasn't conventional, and my base isn't either, and that's what makes it so hard to raid. A lot of people think that you can't build bases like this. You can't build bases like this that are strong. If you build an RP base like this, RP in quotes, I don't actually RP, I just like building cool stuff in Rust. If you build a base like this, it can't be strong, but that's completely untrue. All you gotta do is think like a raider. Think like a raider and exploit the choices that you know they're gonna make whenever they raid you. Let's take a look at the inside. So the inner core of this base, which goes this way, this was the original core of the base, this room right here. I got raided through this wall and this foundation, and then it wouldn't let me place it back. Of course, my main loot wasn't compromised or anything like that, but this is the air quote main loot area. So this was the original core of the base, and there's a suicide bunker back there, which is where the TC is. Got a shop here that I sell things at. Drone accessible, of course. Here's a depot area. Just come in and drop off stuff from raiding or from farming. Some electrical up here. This is where I do trades on the server. So if someone wants to trade with me and use the trade window, I do it here. I know what you are thinking, you know, building decaying. Bitch, when your base is decaying, oh my god, you need to get in there and fix it. The base is decaying on purpose, and I'll talk about that in just a second. This is the air quotes, main loot area again. I say air quotes behind main loot area because I never keep all of my main loot in the base itself. Like, why would you ever do that? It kills me. All these YouTubers out there that post these awesome videos of getting online raided and raid defense and this, but eventually a clan comes in and they have like 100 rockets or whatever, and they come in and they drill to the core and they take all their stuff. Well, if you didn't keep your main loot in the center of your base where they think it's going to be, you wouldn't have lost everything. It doesn't matter how many rockets they had. If you just use a little bit of misdirection, it would have been fine. So, a little bit of misdirection goes a long way. I don't keep all of my loot in here, but this is where I operate. This is the main operating area, and I move my loot elsewhere at the end of the night or whenever I'm going to log off. Got a lot of batteries going on. A lot of power coming in. The electric furnaces have been extremely useful this way. Okay, I want to show y'all what's going on with the decay, the intentional decay. So, I've been thinking about this for years now, but I've never actually put it into practice. Now that the industrial update has made what I'm about to show you possible, the theory behind it makes a lot more sense. So, I told y'all before, this is the armored bunker where my TC is, so let's spawn in there. I'm gonna spawn in there. It's a suicide bunker. I'm gonna show you why my base is decaying. Into the bunker. And you can see this is the TC of my main base, and yes, there is a circuit in here, an industrial circuit in here. And what goes on is the TC contents are pulled from this box, and it fills up my TC right here. But you can see that my base takes, you know, 69, almost 70 high qual a day. But that's not how much I pay for this base. One thing that a lot of people don't know in Rust, and I've known this for a long time, but again, it wasn't... I saw this in a video that's now possible through the industrial update. I'm going to link it in the description because it's genius. If you have walls in your base, take these armored walls and roof tiles and etc. The walls in your base, if they're decaying, they only decay at 10% normal rate if they're on the inside of your base. So all of the armored walls and armored tiles in my base, because they're on the inside of my base, they only decay at 10%. So in theory, if I were to set up a timer system, which I have with these timers here, that it's connected to the industrial crafting update with the conveyor here, you can see the conveyor is set to put up the 24 hours of upkeep in the TC, but only 2 high quality every 4 hours. So I actually spend like 10 or 12 high quality per day, and my high quality walls are in a continual state of decay most of the time, but because they only decay at the 10% rate, only putting 2 high quality in every 4 hours is enough to make them regenerate more than enough back to full health. So instead of paying 69 high quality a day to keep up this base, I only pay like 5 or 6 or something like that, or 8. It's roughly 10-15% of the upkeep of the base is what I pay in high quality. So I can have a super strong inner core like this, and the other areas of the base are also armored like this, and I only pay 10% of the high quality upkeep using intentional decay on the inside of the base. So it's a really, really cool concept that I've been thinking about for years, but the industrial update finally made it possible, and I got the circuit from another YouTuber. I can't remember his name, I'm really sorry, but I'll put him in the description below because it's freaking awesome. The only downside to this is, yes, your base is going to say that it's decaying all the time. You can see it down here at the bottom right, it says base decaying. It is going to say that the whole white. You have to trust that you have the circuit set up right, trust that you have enough in your box or in your TC to keep it up, but it will save you a tremendous amount of high quality metal, or any other material for that matter. These walls just have to be on the inside of your base. They can't be facing the outside world. If they're on the inside, they only decay at 10% rate. I'm going to build a base next wipe that uses the exact same tactic. It's going to have a double honeycombed armored core that it, you know, it will only decay at 10%, and therefore I can build outrageously difficult to raid bases that are slowly decaying all the time, but regenerating themselves before it gets down to any significant health percentage. Let's take a look at the base now that it's nighttime. We're gonna spawn in my neighbor's compound because it's mine now, and it makes a really good little spawn point. You see the base really comes to life at night with the neon lights and the industrial lights, the Christmas lights, etc. Along with the Christmas door frame things that have their own glow. Also have a little tree house up here. See this big tree here? Little tree house up here to chill in. Be nice if those ceiling lights didn't so glitch the hell out like they have been for 5 years now. You see how they make the grass all black like that? Face bunch police are literally unplayable. Can't stand that. The upkeep on this base is pretty gnarly though. You saw that the main is 9,000 metal and such, etc. All these external TCs that I have, like the one that carries the metal tower over here in particular, it's like another 7,000 a day. So my upkeep is pretty ridiculous right now. So the earlier I said that this has been the wipe. The theme of the wipe has been the cars. So cars with code locks. This is the first wipe that I've went absolutely ballistic with code locks on cars. It's changed the way I play the game completely. It's every now and then I'll get hosed and somebody will blow up my car while I'm driving something back, but most of the time, whenever I'm doing some type of operations mission or moving loot or coming back from a farm trip, if I have an RV or even a car like this, one of the little Jeep Wranglers, or my favorite, the four-banger with the RV and the extra engine on it, you're gonna make it back safe because they're so fast. Most of the time, whenever people kill you in these things, and I'm telling you, I've died a number of times while driving stuff home in these RVs, people don't actually destroy the locks to get in them. And what's even funnier is, even if they do destroy the lock to get in them, they usually just take the fuel out of the back of it, even the RVs, and then they ride off. They ride off or they run off, and that's it. They don't look on the inside. So what I do is I farm metal and sulfur and stone, and even do barrel farming along the road. Keep the loot in the back of the RV, and there's the locker space up here in the RV, and there's also this little three rows of storage right here. Just keep all your loot in there, and if you die while farming, you just spawn in the RV and drive off, because it's really easy to just drive off. And yeah, people can be shooting at you, but usually you're gonna make it away. It's radically changed the way I play the game, and it's been really fun. It's been really fun concentrating on vehicles and thinking about vehicle strategy this way. I know they introduced that months ago, but this is the first wipe that I've actually taken it seriously. Is that picturesque or what? I think I'll take a screenshot right here. That looks really good. Bear with me, y'all. I love that. I've also taken over a number of decayed bases this wipe. something that I want to show y'all. This is another one of those things of thinking like a raider and thinking about how the enemy is going to approach raiding and which targets they're going to go for when raiding bases. So I'm going to show you a couple of the bases that I've took over. The first is in the desert, and this base has not been raided yet. This is my Oxum's base, and it's pretty awful. What's hilarious is this was a decaying base that I finished raiding, and I don't actually have access to this garage door here. I can't even get in there, but it had a tier 3 in it, so I took it over. And I use this base just as a forward operating base, or just a safety base to have on the other side of the map. But take a look at it here. Like it's junky like all my other bases, but I've left some of the decayed aspects of it still like they were. Like you can see that some of the roof tiles are missing. There's another garage door there that I can't get into. You know, there's exposed walls. I have access to this door, but not these two. You can tell it used to be an armored bunker. So this is one of those bases where people look at it and they're just like, what the hell am I looking at? Well, it hasn't been raided. It hasn't been raided even once. So this is an example of taking over a base that someone else... So you're using someone else's design, and then the fact that it got raided or decayed, you're using that as misdirection to your advantage, and that can be really powerful stuff in Rust. Nobody wants to bother with this because nobody knows what it is. I mean, this is a high population server, and people just leave it alone. There's like, what the hell am I even looking at? Take a look at another one. The next one is in the snow. It's also a base that I took over. And it's got a compound near it as well that I want to show you. Let's take a look at this one. Let's put my clothes on first because it's cold as hell here. So same thing with this base. This one was decaying, and I raided it the rest of the way. I don't have access to this garage door here. It used to be some type of bunker. I never quite figured it out. Wait till you see the outside of this one. Like, look, you know, there's boxes still laying here. There's missing walls, exposed parts of the base. No one knows what they're looking at when they look at this. I set up a vehicle ramp just to show that, you know, it's mainly to help me if I need to swap out modules on a car while I'm farming or whatever. But looking at this and seeing what used to be here and what's left of it, nobody touches this thing. And it's in the middle of the snow area, which is, you know, those bases always get raided. But I took over this base, which was already built for me. I added some weird little sections to it. Got some action over there, it sounds like. But nobody messes with this, so I have a safe place to store my loot. And it also appeals to the post-apocalyptic junkyard fetish that I have. But people leave it alone. People leave it alone because they don't know what it is. Another pro tip, a misdirection pro tip, is if you want to have a little forward operating base like this, come and make a vending area. Just set up a vending machine area in the base, like you're selling stuff to people, and make, you know, sell stuff for real, but make the prices not great. And then store all your best loot in here. Store your metal and sulfur that you farmed up, and just leave it in here. And then whenever you're ready to send it back to main base, you can either sell it back to yourself using the vending machine at Outpost, or you can come back and get it with a car whenever it's safe. But if this base were to get raided, nobody raids the vending area. I've actually never had that happen before, ever, whenever I take over a base. They don't raid the vending area. So you can keep all your valuables down there, and even if the base does get raided, you can get your stuff out. Take a look at this little area down here. You see this compound down here? There used to be a Giga Chad base down here. Whoever's it was, rest in peace. It decayed in the first week of the wipe, and I thought to myself, that's a great place to not necessarily store loot, but to keep things secure. So the reason this polar bear isn't attacking me, the admins of the server had to turn off AI temporarily because it was causing the server to crash for some reason. That's why this polar bear isn't attacking me. So this is a Giga Chad compound that was decaying. I found it, I blew the TCs, and now whenever I am farming in the snow, get the jackhammer out, drink a tea, I go to town, and then I come back here and store the ore and the stone in the TCs here. Store it in there, then I also store it in here, and I fill these puppies up with metal and sulfur ore. I refill my jackhammer here, and no one touches this stuff. It's a safe place to go, you know, go hog wild farming the clearly ample amounts of metal and stone and sulfur around here, and you just store it in there until you have a safe time to come and get it or send it back to yourself. Nobody touches this stuff. I mean, you know what this looks like, because it is what it looks like. It was a decayed compound. Nobody wants to raid the external TCs of some, you know, crap lord compound that was a nasty memory of someone's wife. Nobody touches this stuff. So this is a safe way to come in here, dump your ore and your stone and stuff, and keep it safe until you can come back and get it. I mean, you see there's another big base over there. There's been other gigantic bases, you know, huge, almost impossible to upkeep bases around here, and yet no one's touched that compound over there. And it's been full, both of those TCs have been full of sulfur so many times, and nobody even touches them. Same thing down here. You can see this, the remnants of the compound down here. This is mine also. This is, I really can't believe this one. I took this one over on like the 4th day of the wipe, and it still hasn't been touched all wipe, even though this is a very raid-heavy server. High pop, you know, plenty of nodes around here to grind that sulfur to blow up anything you want to, and still nobody's touched this base. I built a little 2x1 in the remnants of someone else's compound here also. And this is another little area that I have to use as a forward operating base if I want to raid, or as a loot storage temporarily until I can come back and get it. And again, just like the other one, I have a vending area. And the vending area is around back. You can see the vending machine. So whenever I'm farming, or if I raid someone and it's a big score, I come in here, put the juiciest of loot in here, and then I come back and get it later. Because if this thing's going to get raided, they're not going to blow the vending area. Nobody ever does that. Almost nobody ever does that. I can't say that it'll never happen, but it's very unlikely. Alright, let's go back to main and take one more look, and then we'll end the video. Let's do grass LOL. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next space tour.